Welcome to the DJ the Money Coach Expert Interview Series. And this is, again, the Leadership Edition. I'm Nick, and as always, I'm joined by the founder of the 7 Spheres of Money, DJ the Money Coach. And it looks like our expert is living the pom-pom lifestyle as well. How's it going, DJ?
Man, it's going exciting. This is day 4 or day 5 of this working vacation. Man, I can't even keep track. I'm so fired up. How you doing, Nick, out there in New Jersey? How's that weather?
It's not as great as that Destin weather.
True that. So if you don't know who I am, I'm DJ the Money Coach. My story is real simple. I came out of college with about $40,000 worth of consumable debt in addition to my student loan debt. I also had a 525 credit score. I was also turned down for my first mortgage, and I also was turned down for my first small business loan. In the process of getting those rejection letters, I read a book called The Road to Wealth. Actually, I only read one chapter in the book at that particular time, Nick, and that chapter was about how to repair your credit the right way. Upon reading that book, I applied 2 dirty little words that are, non-existent in our community at times, and that's accountability and discipline. I did not use the victim mentality. I read that chapter, and within 12 months, my credit score rose to like 700, 720. Within 24 months of reading that chapter, my credit score rose above 800. That was back in, I think, 2000. And my credit score has been never less than 805 for 15 straight years. Matter of fact, I pulled my credit before I came on this trip, and it was 806 and rising. So not only did I do that, Nick, also in 2002, I became completely consumer debt free. Everything that had my name on it, I owned it outright, title, deed, etc. And then within 6 years, in 2008, I became financially independent in America with a strong 6-figure passive income through real estate, businesses, and stocks. And I also eclipsed a 7-figure net worth. Not only did I do that, I actually helped 20,000 people in 2 decades achieve financial independence and consumer debt freedom across the country by working with churches, businesses, and schools. And I'm proud to say that I've given back to my community. And in the same vein, this gentleman here, I actually met in 2010, and actually we have become really good friends. Well, I consider him my best friend in the state of Texas. I don't know if he considers me that, but that's okay with me. As long as I can get under the umbrella with him, I'm happy. So without further ado, I would like to introduce a person that is achieving at the highest level. And again, ladies and gentlemen who are watching this broadcast and listen to it on HOH 77.7 digital in Houston, I want you to know that this person has a story that is not the exception to the rule in our community, but it is the rule in our community. So the gentleman's name is Eric K. Dargan. He is the Chief Operating Officer for the city of Houston. And when I met him, he was only like a deputy director. So without further ado, I want to introduce my friend, my confidant, and the incomparable. And this guy is an acronym I have for him. I created today. It's called the HIM. The H stands for humility. The I stands for integrity. And the M stands for real man. So here's him, Eric Dargan.
Good afternoon, Dale, and good afternoon, Nick. Thrilled to be here, sitting here in Destin, Florida, enjoying the pom-pom lifestyle with my man, Dale, DJ the Money Coach. And let's just say I am thrilled to be able to be a part of his circle and part of his life in the fact that we both value the same things in life, and we have the same mentality when it comes to raising our family, when it comes to running the business, when it comes to just being a man of God. So, you know, at the end of the day, I'm thrilled to be here and thrilled to be a participant on the show. So my name's Eric Dargan, Chief Operating Officer for Houston Public Works for the city of Houston. I've been with the city for the last 18 years, 2.5 years to go before I retire, but who's counting? That's a whole nother subject. But at the end of the day, I enjoy the fact that I get paid to serve the public on a daily basis. That's my passion, public service.
That's fired up. So yeah, the pom-pom lifestyle, that's plenty of money, peace of mind. That means no stress. And, you know, Eric epitomizes that lifestyle right now as he's getting into retirement. I mean, he don't look a day over 35, but he's made it a point to actually travel around the globe, man. He's a trekker. So if you know what trekking is about, Eric must take at least 3 to 4 trips a year that I know of. And I mean, he's actually sometimes surpassing me on the trips that we take, but it's fired up. So with that said, Eric, why don't you tell us, about, where you were when you and I met in 2010. Tell us your backstory about your education, and tell us about, what put you on that trajectory to get you to where you are in that seat today. Because my dad always told me, he said, Dale, you are where you are today based on what you did 5 years ago, not what you did yesterday, but literally 5 years ago. So I've seen Eric go from, being a mid-level executive to the guy at the top of his, division in less than 5 years because of what he did 5 years ago. So Eric, why don't you touch base on where you were in 2010? Tell us a little bit about your formal education and your other background as well right now.
Cool. All right. So basically I'm a small town country boy. Grew up in a little small area called Blytheville, Arkansas, about 15,000 people. Graduated from high school in 1984 and went to Purdue A&M University on an academic scholarship. Major in electrical engineering. Didn't know anything about electrical engineering. I just knew I wanted to be in a field that would allow me to make a large amount of money. And so my direction was somewhat off, but at the end of the day, I have no regrets. Finished up Purdue electrical engineering, went on to Michigan State, where I also majored in electrical engineering because my intent initially was to be a college professor. I got off track because I went to a career fair with a friend, and AT&T offered me a job on the spot. And of course, after you've been in school your entire life, and first time being offered a real job, I accepted that at AT&T. So I worked at AT&T for 11 years and finished up AT&T in 2002 and went to work for the city of Houston as deputy director over street and drainage maintenance. Did that for a number of years. 2010, when we met, actually my wife, who also went to Purdue A&M, she was a mechanical engineer and an attorney, but she was doing a personal venture to open up a children's play center. And so we opened up this children's play center in 2010. And Dell and I were actually at a conference. I don't remember the name of the conference personally, but we were sitting at the same table and we introduced ourselves to each other. And once I found out his business and what he did for a living, I said, hey, why don't you go ahead and do an evaluation on my background, my business, and everything else. So I gave Dale all my information. And let's just say I'm a person that I think I'm pretty good in managing money and doing things the right way, but I'm always willing to listen and learn for new opportunities. Dale actually came back and said, hey, Eric, I really have very little to offer. And that was the key, because he wasn't just trying to sell me something. He was actually trying to look at the entire picture and make some friendly advice. So from a personal standpoint, he really had little to offer, but he did make some recommendations on the business side. And I'll be the first one to admit that I did not follow, and probably should have followed that advice later, but I did not. My business actually shut down in 2012. And basically I've gotten into other avenues of business, more so on the real estate side, but at the same time maintaining my business or my daily life at the city of Houston. I do believe God called me to be a public servant, so I don't offer any apologies or regret for being a public servant. I enjoy working for the city. I enjoy serving the community. I enjoy doing things to improve people's lives. But at the end of the day, I do believe everyone should have something that they can increase their revenue, increase their net worth, increase their value, so that they can live this pom-pom lifestyle at some point in time in their life, preferably sooner than later. And of course, being in the same circle as Dale, I get nuggets from Dale on a regular basis, and those nuggets have proven to be successful and beneficial to me in my life. So basically, nothing special besides I'm a planner. I plan everything out. I know where I want to go. I know what I want to achieve, but I've also been blessed. I'm a person that have never applied for a job. I've never applied for a position. I've always been offered these opportunities, and Actually, the new director at the time offered me this newly created position of Chief Operating Officer for the City of Houston, which basically means I oversee the operations for public works. I oversee water and wastewater, streets, drainage, traffic, permitting, billing, all the things that people take for granted when it comes to just regular qualities of life: water, wastewater, the streets, the drainage, all the things that are just automatic because the public receives these services from the municipality. And long as things are running good, you'll never know that that organization even exists. And that's my goal in life, to keep it that way, so that I don't have to become a primary name in the city, because if everybody knows me, that's a problem. If everybody doesn't know me, then that's a good thing. That means things are running smoothly. So my job is to basically keep the city of Houston running smoothly when it comes to the public works and infrastructure that serves these great citizens throughout the city.
So you said a mouthful there, Eric, and what I want to be able to do is I want to unpack some of those things that you mentioned. Just the other day, I was interviewing one of your fraternity brothers, Marshall Taggart, who actually I would not have met if it wasn't for you inviting me out to the National Black Forum for Professional Administrators. If I got that wrong, guys, don't kill me, but you get the point. So here's what I found out, from Marshall, in terms of not using, race as a deterrent to his success. And it's the same thing with you. I mean, you both apply, discipline, you both apply, accountability. And then you said something that I thought was amazing. You never filled out an application for a job. And that's something I normally hear from my white counterparts, but I always hear from our Black counterparts about, man, they got privilege. But if I didn't understand, you had privilege based on your blessings of doing the work. And my father and my grandfather always told me, only time you find success before work is in the dictionary, and you earned that right to have that privilege, which was not privilege, because Dave Thomas, the founder of Wendy's Burgers, he says, amazing. The luckier I get is because the harder determined I work my plan. And that really sounds like what you just said in reference to not having to fill out an application, because you did the work, you had a plan, and you put yourself in a conducive environment for people to see your talent and your skills to actually help them go to the next level. So touch on that a little bit, and also touch on this for me, because here's another thing that I like about what you and Marshall do collectively is that every time I see you, you got some sharp young Black person that's doing a job that typically we would say, wow, man, that's the old boy network. But I see the old Black network working very prevalently in the relationship that you and I have, and I'm proud of it, and unapologetically that you hire the best and they happen to look like you and me. Can you touch on that for a second for us, Eric?
Yes, sir. Glad to. So first of all, let's go back to the privilege, because I want to make sure everybody understands nothing was given to Eric Dargan. Nothing at all. So my parents raised me to do my best and be my best at everything possible. When I got to Prairie View, the emphasis changed, and that was my number one benefit probably of going to a historically Black college university, was the fact that my college professors made me understand, Eric, you couldn't be just as good. You had to be better than anybody else you were around, and they drilled that into my head to the point that I accepted that being average, being just as good was not enough. You're going to have to be better than everyone around you at all times. And I soaked that up, and that's what I strive to do. So when I went to AT&T, once again, they literally just offered me a job at a career fair because of my leadership skills, my education for having an undergrad and master in electrical engineering, but more so the organizations. You mentioned the National Forum for Black Public Administrators. That's one of the organizations that I was a member of, and National Society of Black Engineers when I was in college. So being actively involved in professional organizations and community organizations led to the leadership skills that they were looking for on the job. When I got the job as COO, I didn't apply for it. My boss at the time came to me and he selected me, and I actually asked him, why did you, oh, I'm sorry, let's go back to leaving AT&T, coming to the city of Houston. I get a call from a headhunter out of the blue asking me to come interview for this job. I'm like, I have no desire to interview for a job. I'm perfectly happy where I am. And the lady informed me that the city of Houston was searching for a person like me. I'm like, where do you get my name from? Why are you calling me? And she said, someone through another organization called Leadership Houston said you had the toughest job at the telephone company, but you make it look so easy. I'm like, interesting. And from there, I basically went to the city of Houston. When I got the COO job, my boss at the time brought me in and like, hey, I'm like, once again, why you offer me this opportunity? He's like, you don't know. He said, I did my research. You are the one person that's highly respected in this organization. You're a man of your word, and you are able to influence people to achieve whatever job and perform at the highest level. I said, thank you very much. So no privilege, all about hard work and making sure that your results speak for itself. I've not one time had to pat myself on the back for anything. I let my actions, my work speak for itself. And if it's good enough for the public, then it's good enough for everyone else. So I have been blessed in that sense. Now, also as a Black man growing up, setting the example, as I meet younger Blacks coming into an organization, I basically give them my story and like, look, you gotta let your actions speak for itself. I don't need lip service. I need actions. I need results. I need tangible, measurable results that I can actually see your progress and see what you've accomplished. And I guarantee you, if you show that, people will seek you out because they want someone that can make a difference on their team. And at the end of the day, when it comes to results, color really doesn't matter. I mean, I think people really, do I rather have a Black person on my team with no results or a white person on my team that's knocking it out of the park? I'm sorry, it is what it is. I need the results to be knocked out of the park. Now, if the Black person is knocking it out of the park, that just makes it that much better. So I tell every young Black person I know, you cannot be average. That is not acceptable. You got to go above and beyond and set yourself apart from your peers. And if you do that, those opportunities will be there. And when someone like me offers you that opportunity, no one's going to question, oh, Eric gave it to him because he was Black. No, Eric gave it to him because he was the best person on the team, and he had the results to prove it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know, at the end of the day, I have to look in the mirror. When you work for a municipality or government entity, you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and defend every action you do on the 10 o'clock news. And if you can't do that, then you're going to be questioned quite often. I can sleep very peacefully at night knowing that the decisions I make are for the good of the city, and the people who I surround myself with are people that are performing at the highest level. No one gave them anything. And it's really as simple as that from my perspective.
You know, that's a great perspective. And I was, you know, being facetious about being privileged, because I know just like you do that you put the work in, the results show. And you said an amazing thing. You make things look easy because you have the discipline of having the ability to, you know, handle, you know, stressful situations because of your faith and who you are. And I want to rebuff average, because here's what I've come to learn over the past 30 years is that in your household, if you have a master's degree, your wife has a master's degree, you don't have to tell your children to go get a master's degree, because that's average, and average is excellence in your house, because that's where the bar is. So what I think the problem is with our children that don't come from a functional family, where they come from broken environments, they start to lower their threshold and allow the excuses of the negative narrative to become their average, become their norm. So you've rebuffed that, and I see that in everything that you do. So the other thing I like is, like you said, be a man of your word. Let your results, you know, speak louder, you know, than anything that comes out of your mouth. And that's another thing that we have to hold accountability to our people that we're training nowadays. And other thing I like from the standpoint is that, why don't you ever be worried about hiring a Black person that may fail? Because I'm sure you've hired some Black people that failed, and I'm sure you hired some white people that failed. But here's the thing I know about white Americans: and black professionals, and this is just my PSA, a white American, and I know a lot of them that are in high levels, they'll hire a qualified person or a barely qualified person. If they fail, they don't think one thing about it. They don't expect any blowback. And 98.9% of black professionals that I've met, like you, Eric, over the past 30 years, they do the complete opposite. But you actually happen to be one that actually does not worry about the blowback, because I think you do such a great job in your due diligence about the people. So can you talk to that? And I'm not patting you on the back. I'm just going from what I've seen from knowing you for the past 10 years.
No one's perfect. I'm not perfect. Have I failed at numerous things? Yes, I have, personally and professionally. Have I not met the bar in some areas? Yes, I have. So that's part of human nature. No one's perfect. And so the difference is, am I willing to give a person a chance because they failed? Am I going to hold it against them because they failed? No. Failure is just another learning experience. Failure is just another opportunity to know I'm not doing that again. So, hey, I have no issue at all at giving a person a second chance or identifying. Now, granted, there are two separate standards. I accept that. There are two separate standards, because if a black person fails at something, that might be held against them outside of his black race. It is what it is. You know what? I can't do anything about that. But if I'm in charge, if I'm in control, I recognize and understand that no one is perfect. And just because you fail once, maybe even twice, doesn't mean you are a failure. It just means that you're willing to take maybe more risk than the average person. And I'm a person, I take risks. I walk the line all the time. There's a fine line between stupidity and risk, though. And I'm not going to do anything stupid to get myself fired. I'm not going to do anything stupid to cause my name to be harmed, because the Dargan name itself means something to my father. It means something to me, and hopefully it will mean something to my son. So we're going to take risks, and we accept the fact that the consequences of those risks may not be the greatest. However, I'm not going to hold that against anyone that takes a risk for the good of the community, for good of the organization, for good of the employees. If it's about selfish personal risk or selfish personal motives, that's another story. But if your intention is good, we're going to stand firm together. We're going to learn from that mistake, and we're going to keep it pushing. And that's just the way it is. Now, will I say my peers will do the same thing? Maybe not. Hopefully my peers will pay attention and maybe learn some things from me versus doing things the way they've always done it. It happens. And once again, in my circle, in my world, under my control, I will not allow that to impact anybody, black or white, to be honest with you.
Since you're in a position of leadership, and since you are the COO of the City of Houston Public Works, you're dealing with all kind of people. I think Houston, if I'm not mistaken, has been denoted as one of the most diversified cities in America altogether, where you got to deal with whites, Asians, Hispanics, Middle Eastern people. And since you are the chief person, you're dealing with these people. So when you're taking consensus with people and that second chance because that person failed just by making an honest mistake, what's the consensus amongst your peers that don't look like us when you say, hey, you know what, this person should have another opportunity? And I equate this to sports. And here's why I want to equate this to sports, because in the NFL, for instance, at one time we had about 13% black NFL coaches, just about 3-4 years ago. Now we only have like 4%. But we get one shot because the guy in the C-suite doesn't look like us, so he's not advocating for that person who made an honest mistake and just needed to grow into position to get the experience to be better suited for the next head coaching job. How do you diplomatically address that amongst the people who are subordinates to you but are in a similar consensus where they help make collective decisions in regard to people that look like us?
You know, it is disappointing that some people look at this situation differently. And when I run into majority blacks that might be looking for a second chance, as a matter of fact, we have a second chance program at the City of Houston that was not popular in public works until I basically made it popular. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just saying I went out on the limb and I started giving people a second chance when other people were not willing to do that. Let me tell you what that has shown over the years, though, because those individuals that I've given second chances to have been the best performing people that you will ever meet because they got a second chance. They appreciate.
Let me interrupt right now.
Okay.
Why do you think that second chance person, and I know you know the answer, why do you know that they become more dependable than the people who haven't failed you? Why is that?
Strictly for the fact that I gave them a second chance. I mean, that they appreciate the fact that no one else would give them a chance. No one else would give them a job. I mean, to be a grown man and not able to go out and support your family, that does something to your heart and to your soul. And then when someone can give you that opportunity to have a job with benefits, where you're in a stable environment and you get to serve the community, you take pride in that. And those individuals who work at the city of Houston who have been given a second chance have been some of my best performing employees who have actually risen to middle management and are now setting the bar for others. The problem is two things. So as an executive, we have to realize that how we respond will be interpreted as, oh, that's how the next Black person is going to respond. So let's break that down for a second. So let's say Eric Dargan, at the time, deputy director, and let's just say that I severely failed as deputy director. There's probably a slim chance that another Black person is going to be given a shot at that anytime in the near future. Why? Because Eric Dargan failed. So I take it personal that I understand that sometimes I'm representing the Black race. It's one of those opportunities that we don't ask for, but the reality is if you're in a leadership position and you are Black, you have to understand that you are setting the example for the others because they're going to perceive the others to be just like you. I'm going to look at that as a good thing. That means you're going to perceive that all Black males are going to be on the point, on the job, going to be honest, sincere, going to be direct to the point, and going to get results. So you know what? I receive that, and I run with the ball when I'm handed the ball.
Hey, let me interject right here. Let me interject right here. Now, the conversely should be true. If you and I have to take on the burden to represent all the Black men when we get a first, and I don't never want to be the first, but a lot of times I am. But if I fail, that next Black guy or gal don't get that opportunity. Now, the conversely should be true where we hold them feet to the fire when we exceed the position, and we should see more of us coming into the C-suite. So why is that not happening when Eric Dargan is knocking it out the park, when DJ the Money Coach is knocking it out the park? So is that your responsibility, my responsibility, or is that a collective that, like right now, we have to hold somebody accountable when we are exceeding excellence? Talk to that for me real quickly, because that's important, man.
You know what? From my perspective, it is our responsibility. And you know what? I accept it. I embrace it. And I think the results have actually shown it. So I will tell you, since I became COO, City of Houston, and let's face reality, I was the only Black male sitting around the table for a very long time. There are now 2 other Black males sitting around the table at Public Works in deputy director positions. Do I believe, now I'm not going to say I'm responsible for that. I'm not going to claim that at all. But do I believe that if I had severely failed, would that have happened? Probably not. And you know, it is what it is. I truly believe that. But the fact that I was successful and that I have allowed my background and my work and my ethics to actually speak for itself, I think gave those other 2 Black males who are now sitting at the table the same opportunity I was given. And you know what, Dale, we have to accept that. Is it right? Is it fair? No. But that's the world we live in, and it's our job to make sure that the person coming up behind us have this opportunity. So we have to hold ourselves to a higher standard than everyone else in the room. And you know what? It is what it is. It's not fair, it's not right, but that's just the way, that's the world we live in today. And I'm hopeful that when my son gets to this point, that maybe it will be a little bit more fair, However, I'm not going to risk that, so I will continue to emphasize to him, son, you're going to have to be above and beyond everybody that you deal with. The only way you're going to get a fair shot is that you are one step above, not equal. Because not equal does not mean you're going to get the same opportunity. It just doesn't. And that's the world we live in. Hopefully it will change over time, but right now, today in 2020, we're not there yet.
You know, hey, you know what? So I'm gonna agree to disagree with you about one word that you use, which is fair. So I'm gonna tell everybody right now, fair is where pigs get slaughtered and where people go to play games. So with that said, we want justice and equity, Eric. So that's gonna be the only time I disagree with you, because we're gonna pivot now and talk about ownership, because ownership does not afford you the opportunity. Oh no, let me take that back. Ownership affords you the opportunity to make mistakes and to carve out your own niche and your own legacy. And I appreciate people like you who went and worked in the government, worked in corporate America. But at the end of the day, until you sign your name on the front of that check, on the back of the check, you are subject to being terminated at will. And you know that, and I know that. So now, tell me what you're excited about, because you are owner, baby. So tell me what you're excited about and why this is the DJ the Money Coach Financial Expert Leadership Series, because we're talking about economics. Right now, the economics is that if you are in power position to hire vendors that look like me, that are qualified, you'll make more impact on their family legacy. Because last time I checked, I can't give away a job to my son or my daughter. But you know what I can give away, Nick and Eric? I give them every business that I built, no matter if it's worth $1 or $1 million, because it belongs to me. Let's talk about that for a minute, Eric.
All right, so I'm gonna hit this from two areas. So I worked in corporate America for 11 years. I worked for the government, city of Houston, for 18 years. So I've never, quote, truly been a entrepreneur where that supported my lifestyle. So I want to talk about this in two areas. One, if you are a corporate worker or if you're a municipal worker, the question is, I've always said, it's not a matter of how much money you make, it's what you do with what you make. And that's where even having a person like Dale in your corner can be beneficial. I've saved 25% of my salary since the day I started working. I've been a saver and a planner, because at the end of the day.
Wait. Hold up. Now, Nick, you might have thought that I told him to say that. He just said he saved 25% of his salary since the day he worked. And you know where that came from? Because he has strong foundation at home. And the fruit on your tree is your children. Because your children don't do what we say, they do what they see. And one thing I found out is that your network directly impacts your net worth. But we talk about what? Consumer debt free. Pay yourself first. And Eric just said he saves 25% of his salary since the day work. But guess what? He would not have been able to do that. And Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, if your parents didn't set you up to have that mindset over a period of years, that it just became innate for you to do it. So back to you, Eric.
That's a very true statement, Dale. I'll be the first one to say that my parents set certain things in me as a foundation early in my life. I've always given minimum 10%, but really also since I've been working, basically I give 15%, I save 25%, and I live off the 40. I live off the 60%. And that's just been my model. And by me saving that has allowed me to build up the savings and the investments to allow me to do things to be able to take me above and beyond when I leave the city of Houston. Because at the end of the day, I need to have that financial wealth to be able to do the things I like to do and travel to places I like to go and just enjoy the lifestyle that I like to live. And I understand I tell people all the time, let experts do what experts do. I am not an expert in financial management. Nope. That's why I work with people who are experts, and I allow them to give me the guidance and the direction that I need to make sure that my money is working for me. Now, at the same time, I believe that when that time comes, I leave the city of Houston, I will probably venture out and do some things on my own. But at the same time, That's the part of the wealth that I hope to leave. Now, both my parents were teachers, and granted, they weren't able to leave me a nice bit pot of gold at the end of the rainbow bowl. I do have a home in Blytheville, Arkansas that my father actually bought when I was 1 year old, and that home is still there today, and that will be a home for me for the rest of my life. And the home where I am now that was paid for by me and my children's mother will be the home for them for the rest of their life. So if nothing else, we have a home land to pass on to our children, just like my father and mother will pass along that home in Arkansas to me. But being able to invest your money, save your money, invest your money, or go out and allow your money to create an opportunity to make more money is, I believe, that's something that we all should do. Whether you have a corporate job, a municipal job, or a regular job, allow your money to work for you. And surround yourself with the right people that's going to give you guidance in doing that. And granted, Dale is someone that I invest with personally because he's an expert. Let experts do what experts do. I'm a public servant, and I'm good at what I do. And when it comes to taking care of the community and taking care of things of that sort, I can handle that. But I recognize my strength and my weaknesses. And if you surround yourself with people that can compensate for the areas you lack, you will be in a whole nother place where you have a team that can really take you to the next higher level in life, and then allow you to truly live this pom-pom lifestyle that Dale talks about on a regular basis.
Oh man, that's powerful stuff, Eric. So let's make another pivot. Let's talk about leadership, because I know you wrote this book. It's called Leadership and Leading Without Dollars. I'm sorry, Leading Without Dollars. So and ladies and gentlemen, if you don't realize, Eric and I are actually on the same patio because we're sharing a working vacation together. That's the beauty of the pom-pom lifestyle, having that plenty of money and peace of mind. So, Eric, let's talk about that and how leading without dollars, which it basically means, Nick, is that as an entrepreneur, you got to be able to stretch that penny into a dollar. And as a public servant, which Eric has been for over 20 years, he's got to be able to take this budget and get more out of it than less. So talk about that a little bit, Eric, and what's the impact of having the discipline and accountability and how that can help that sophomore in high school, that freshman in college, and that person who look like me and look like America, because right now we got a problem in America, $1 trillion worth of student loan debt. How can we help leading without dollars impact those individuals so they won't have that excuse to have that debt when they get out of college and have bad credit like I did, Eric?
Leading Without Dollars is really a simple book, and it's really meant for that high school, college student basically getting into their first career, to make them understand or to help them understand that, you know what, you don't have to have all the money in the world to make things happen. And I think this applies to life. We're all given certain resources at a point in our life. And the question is, how do we maximize what we have versus making excuses that I don't have this or I don't have that. I don't have enough money I don't have enough money to go to college. You know what? Take what you have and make it happen however you have to make it. Now, when it comes to leading people, especially in a municipality, we don't have enough money to get the best equipment. We don't have the best material. We don't have the best uniform. We don't have the best of things, but what little we do have, we have to maximize it. And the key when it comes to leading others is making sure that people understand that the greatest asset is the individual, the people around you. And by getting the people around you to offer their insight on what they see that you can do better, more efficient, with the resources you have, that's the biggest key. Because a lot of time as a leader, I can't sit up in the ivory tower making decisions that's impacting people at the frontline level when I don't know the obstacles that they deal with on a daily basis. I have to trust that they know their job. I have to trust that they understand their job. I have to trust that the recommendations that they're making or recommendation that's going to allow them to be successful with the resources they currently have. So you can take that same model and apply it to your personal life. Okay, you just graduated from college, and let's say you're making $25,000 a year. Well, okay, great. And you have $50,000 in loans or $100,000 in loans. Question is, what are you going to do? How are you going to manage yourself? Oh, God. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we hear you.
All right. How are you going to manage yourself to allow yourself to live within your means, to pay your debt, and maybe create an opportunity where you're going to go do something on your own on the side to help generate more revenue? So the whole part of leading without dollars basically says, no, you don't have the silver pot. You don't have the pot at the end of the rainbow. You have the meager means that you've been given. And the question is, what are you going to do with what you have to make it happen? What are you going to do with whatever you have and still become successful? Do not make excuses. Do not point the finger. Accept your position wherever you are and say, I'm going to work out a plan. I'm going to live within my means. I think living within our means is the biggest thing. And living within your means, that applies to corporate America. That applies to the municipality. That basically means, you know what, Eric, your budget is so small, you're going to have to do what you can with what you got. Same thing applies to your household. If you're only making a certain amount of money, break it up into percentages. Like I said, save 25%, give your 10 or 15%. And when I say give, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying give to your church. I'm saying give to the community. Give something to somebody that's going to make somebody else better. Whether that's your time, your talent, whatever the case may be, give of yourself to make someone else better. Because I just believe that what goes around comes around. If you're out there helping people grow and you're helping people succeed, you're helping people, even if it's to help them get a job paying minimum wage, you just help somebody. That will come back to you tenfold. Live within your means, regardless of where you stand. That's what leading without dollars is all about.
Where can we get your book? So we can put that down in the links. And what I'm going to do, because we are doing this, working vacation, and I know you want to get back to the beach because that's what you love doing, and you've earned the right to do that. So we're going to wrap this up in 5-10 minutes here, and we're going to have to come back and do a part 2 because these information and these nuggets, Nick, they are universal, and they apply in corporate America, they apply in your personal life, as they apply as being entrepreneurs. And I think one thing is like what Marsha and I talked about as this plane flies over is that, and it's an amazing plane. But one thing we talked about is that the law of attraction. And I think at the end of the day, you attract to you what you are. So reason why Eric and I have become good friends is that we share the same principle. Even though I am a serious entrepreneur, I abide by the same principles of success that Eric does. And I teach my children, Eric, I teach them that for every dollar you get, take 50% of it, invest it. Take 30% of it, save it. Take 10% of it and give of your talent into charity. And then take the 10 cents that you got left over, spend it however you want to. However, I want you to spend like you are shopping at Walmart, but you want things that are Neiman Marcus. So that's the way we do it. And if we can change that paradigm, because you and I come from 2 different dichotomies. I came from a broken family, and I didn't use that as an excuse. I didn't use the $40,000 of consumable debt that I got into. I didn't use the 525 credit score to play victim when I got turned down for 2 loans. I just accepted the reality, and I said, we're going to move forward. And I think what the common thread is that I come from a military background, and you come from a military background. So tell us where we can get the book, and then I want to wrap up and talk about, networking and how powerful that is to actually get on that trajectory to success. And that's a template for success for anybody, but especially for the Black woman and the Black male.
All right, so that question is going to prove that we didn't rehearse any of this because they'll put me on the spot. The book is not really out for purchase because that's a step that I have not followed through on. I have the books myself in my closet. I give the books away or to whoever might want them. And if there's someone that wants to buy one, then obviously I can order some more and sell them accordingly. But when I did the book, Dale, it wasn't for me to sell. It was for me to share with my employees so that they could understand that, leading in a government setting is not a difficult task if you really take a different perspective on how you do things. So I'm embarrassed to say that I believe it's actually on the ebook with Amazon, but I'm not 100% sure because it's been a long time since I actually published it. So I'm just going to say, if someone wants the book, get in touch with me through Dale, and I'll be sure to send you one. No cost to you. That's all on me. I'll be happy to do that. That's just who I am. One day I'm gonna actually get it and I'll publish it so people can buy it. But until that time happens, I'll just suck it up. So I apologize that I don't have it out there for anybody to see, to order. But if they want one, get in touch with me. And I'm simple. erickdargan@gmail.com. erickdargan@gmail.com. Email me and we'll send you one.
And tell you what, since I didn't know that, Eric, I'm going to match you one, and I'm going to give everybody that requests your book, I'm going to give them my book, The Cost of Financial Ignorance, absolutely free, because that's the kind of guy I am. So since you giving away the book, I was going to say I was going to pick up the book, but you know what? Let's give them 2 free books. We're going to give them, Leadership Without Dollars by Eric K. Dargan, and we're going to give them The Cost of Financial Ignorance by Dale J. Duransburg Jr., a.k.a. DJ the Money Coach, because you know what? It's about giving at the end of the day. And that's one thing I learned from you, Eric. And one of my struggles was when I was growing up, since we didn't have anything, I became a very selfish person. I'm not going to lie about it, because I looked at it as the enemy that was holding us back. So when I started earning stuff, I kept for myself. But I come to understand that those talents being kept is like the parable of the talents, the 3 talents. You have the master leaves 3 sons with the same equal amount. One guy buries in the ground, think he's going to preserve it. One guy only makes a little bit out of it because he's not really pursuing it. And then the other guy 10X's it. The master comes back was like, oh, you put it in the ground, I take yours. You only worked it a little bit, I take yours. And I give it to the kid who 10X'd it, because everybody can prosper. So that's what we're about in this series. So I thank you, Eric, for giving me that model of being more benevolent towards people and not being angry. Because we also sometimes consider the angry black man or the angry black woman. We got a right to be angry. It's just got to be modified, and it's got to be regulated, and turn that anger into positivity and make the fruits grow from our tree. So with that, I want to wrap this up real quickly and say, talk about networking, Eric, and how important that is. And this is where I become a proponent against college education, because I have never been taught how to network to actually create money or significant relationships to benefit me. I learned by default, and I've been to several schools. I partied out of one college and I graduated from another one, and I've been through many certifications, and nobody has ever taught me about networking. But once I learned about networking, my trajectory in business and life became better just because of networking. And Eric is a master at networking. So talk about networking, Eric, and talk about the groups that you are a part of, that you go to year in, year out, that I've seen over the past decade. Touch on that, and then we'll wrap this up.
All right. So networking is really critical to any successful individual, in my opinion. And I believe it's important in personal and professional growth. It goes back to, you are not the expert. You don't know everything. So the best thing you can do is meet as many people as you can and find out who are the experts in all the different areas of your life where you might need some assistance or resources in a future day. So to start out with, I am the chairman of the board for the Houston Metropolitan Federal Credit Union. And I became chairman probably around 10 years ago. And it's an organization, of course, credit union, that basically is there to assist and help our employees. So anything that's really about helping our employees is, once again, that's something that I automatically felt like I need to be a part of. Another organization that I'm the past president at the state level is the American Public Works Association, and for the Texas chapter. And this is the association for professionals, whether it's frontline professionals or office professionals, that are involved in the public works industry. So now it's not only being involved and active with people all around the state of Texas, but people nationally and worldwide. And you know, it's nice to know that you can pick up the phone because you ran into a problem that someone in Australia had the same problem a couple of years ago, and you can pick up the phone and give them a call and find out exactly what they did to improve that situation. Dale and I have gone to the same conference for the National Forum of Black Public Administrators. This one I think is great because this is the one conference where you get to meet people who look like you in the profession of government of serving at the municipal level or at the federal level, at the state level. Blacks who are professionals that can share information, that can share resources, whether that's prime contracts, subcontractors, technology, materials, resources, whatever the case may be. It's about sharing information. It's about having that contact where you can pick up the phone. Another organization that I've been involved with, I mean, one that got me involved on the speaking level, which is Toastmasters. Just being able to communicate and working with younger, and I love Toastmasters because that's where I get to work with younger people that are entering into their career field and they need to really understand some of the basics of public speaking. So just being involved in organizations, Golden Age Hobby House, another organization for senior citizens. Once again, just giving back to the community and being on the board to help seniors get the resources that they need. That was just one organization I was president of a couple of years ago. So being involved in networking is, I just say, it's not about you. It's about what can you do for others, and conversely, how can others assist you in your job, in a personal matter. Is understanding that you are not the expert. You are not the one that knows everything that's going on in the world. And it's great to have a Rolodex that you can come pencil through or flip through and find somebody that knows something about something you need assistance with. I truly feel like there is nothing that someone can't ask me. I can tell you I know somebody that does it. And that's a good resource to have. And hopefully they feel the same way about me, so that when I call on somebody for assistance, I don't feel like I'm putting them in harm's way. I don't feel like I'm being a nuisance. I don't feel like I'm being a pest. I'm sharing information, and it's okay for them to call me and get information as well. So it's a relationship. Networking, in my opinion, is a relationship. Networking is building relationships that are going to prove beneficial long-term. It's not one-sided where one person benefits and another person is always giving. It's a two-way street. And so I would encourage anyone to get involved with organizations, get involved with the NSB, National Society of Black Engineers, get involved with the National Forum of Black Public Administrators, get involved with the American Public Works Association, get involved with your credit union, get involved with whatever is your field of profession, get involved on the finance side, get involved on the community side, get involved. No one man is an island, and I don't believe one person can be successful trying to do it all on their own. Networking is truly, I think, one of the, let's go back to the statement I made about the headhunter who called me from AT&T, because a guy who I was in Leadership Houston with knew my job, knew what I did, and he referred me to her because she needed someone that could lead a large group of people, and I made my job look easy at the telephone company. So once again, the networking opens up the opportunities for you to let people know who you are, what you're about, and at the same time find out about other people who may be able to benefit you later in life. But it's a two-way street. It's not one-sided.
Man, dude, that was profound nuggets that you just shared with people. I didn't even realize, that, yeah, I know now that it is a relationship and it's an investment. And more importantly, it's what you bring to make people's lives better. George Fraser says, if you keep coming to the dinner table and you don't bring a meal, you're not going to be welcome back to the table. So with that said, man, you've obviously have impacted my business and my life from networking. I mean, the relationships with the Houston Federal Credit Union, you referred me to them to take care of their financial education, and they were clients of mine for 3 years. And then you told me about the National Forum for Black Public Administrators and invited me to the national conference in Chicago in 2011. And that led to me meeting Marshall. That impacted my business and my family's business, able for me to take care of my children. So where would we be without networking? And the question begs is that, why aren't they teaching us in the school system? I mean, they teaching socialism, so why aren't they teaching business socialism? Because that's the impact that it has. So at the end of the day, I just got to scratch my head on that one. So Nick, what are your takeaways, Nick? Because we're going to let Mr. Dargan get back to his wonderful vacation, since he's been, you know, gracious enough to let me beg him to do this interview with us. And you got to see why I wanted to bring him on the show, not only because he's a great friend of mine, because he's a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. And you can never get enough wisdom and never get counsel by people further down the road you are. What's your takeaways, Nick?
Well, Eric, you definitely deserve that work vacation. Just based on everything that you shared with us, everything that you accomplished, definitely. And man, like DJ said, we need a part 2 to this. I have a whole page of notes here. I was taking notes the whole time, So I'll quickly run through a few things that I picked up. But starting with the most recent, networking. Network to help others and to have others help you to fill those knowledge and resource gaps. Be willing to listen and learn, even if you feel like you know enough about the topic. Eric is showing us that you can serve the community and still live the pom-pom lifestyle. Too often, we're led to believe that you can't be for the community and have money at the same time, but you can. No privilege. It takes work, and you want to show tangible results. Actions speak louder than words. Set the bar or the threshold high. No one's perfect. Failure is a learning experience. Give second chances. And it's not about how much money you have, it's about what you do with it. And lastly, it's important to have a strong foundation, strong family foundation. Thank you again, Eric, for joining us.
Man, it's awesome. So again, Eric, if you can give us your contact information, where people can get in touch with you. Everyone, like we said, we're going to give away the Leaders Without Dollars, Leadership Without Dollars, booklet by Eric K. Dargan. We're also going to give away free, these are both going to be free, The Cost of Financial Ignorance by Dale J. Duransburg, aka the Money Coach. And Eric, give us your parting statement in 30 seconds, then we're going to get out of here. And again, appreciate your time, friend.
All right, good deal. Well, hey, anybody that want to reach out to me, feel free. My email address, Eric, ERICKDARGAN, Eric K. Dargan @gmail.com. Send me an email. I will respond. Normally I try to respond within 24 hours, but hey, I do respond. Or you can reach out and give me a call, not a problem, 713-301-6919. Once again, I love life, and you don't get, every day is truly a precious gift. And I believe we all should be able to live every moment at the highest level possible. I'm thrilled to be here on vacation in Destin, Florida with DJ and the family. We're here to make it happen. We're here to make it happen. If there's anything I can do to assist, reach out. If you need a book or if you want the book, send me an email. But I'm thrilled to be able to participate and look forward to working with you in the future. Take care. Peace.
Hey guys, you know how we do this. It's all about the pom-pom lifestyle. It's plenty of money, peace of mind. We literally want you to come join us on the Beaches of the World Club, which we're doing right now today. And I want to thank Eric for investing his time with us, because he didn't have to do that. But again, that's the kind of guy he is. He's the him. Humility, integrity, the man. I'll see you next time on DJ the Money Coach Financial Expert Series. Peace.